Welcome to the regular meeting of the Public Works and Infrastructure Committee for October 12th. I'm Emily Koski, and I'm the vice chair of this committee. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll so that we can verify a quorum for this meeting.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Wansley.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Chugtai.
Present.
Chair Johnson is absent. Vice Chair Koski.
Present.
There are 5 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. With that, we'll move to our consent agenda. There are 4 items on the consent agenda, which I will read for the record. The first is authorizing an agreement with MnDOT for Hennepin Avenue and First Avenue Northeast, proposed multimodal improvements. The next is authorizing a cooperative agreement with Hennepin County for the Lowry Avenue Northeast Street Reconstruction Project, Phase 1. The next is approving a series of actions related to the construction and maintenance of West River Road North as part of our Upper Harbor Terminal project. And then the next is authorizing the purchase of the Nice Ride brand and trademark from Nice Ride. I understand there is a brief amendment to number 6, so I will direct and ask Director Dodds to speak to that amendment.
Chair Koski, members of the committee, this agreement is with Minnesota Department of Transportation and Hennepin County, and so the action item and resolution were updated to reflect that.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda, or are there any items anyone would like to pull for further discussion? Seeing none, I'll move approval of the consent agenda, including the amendment to number 6. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the consent agenda is approved. Our next items of business are 2 public hearings to consider assessments for non-governmental tax-exempt parcel street maintenance and streetlight operations. I understand there will be 1 presentation for 2 items, but separate public hearings. Deputy Director Dodds, who will be presenting on these 2 items?
Chair Koski, members of the committee, Vicki Troswick, Public Works Finance Manager, will be presenting on these 2 items.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Vicki Troswick, and I'm Public Works Finance Manager. I'm introducing 2 related public hearings this afternoon on the non-governmental tax-exempt property for street lighting and street maintenance assessments payable in 2024. Minneapolis has been assessing non-governmental tax-exempt property since 1974. The assessment rate is determined for both assessments by dividing the street lighting budget and the maintenance budget by all accessible square footage in the city. This ties the assessment rate to the actual cost of delivering the service. The rate payable for the 2024 assessments is the same rate as last year, so public notices were sent to only the people that have a first-time assessment or if there was an increase in their assessment due to their property boundary changes. There are 1,172 eligible properties in the city, and notices were mailed to 43 properties. For the street light operation assessment, the median or middle value assessment for all eligible properties is $43 per year. The mean or average assessment is $92 per year. The total for the street lighting assessment payable in 2024 is $108,151. For the street maintenance assessment, the median or middle value assessment for all eligible properties is $215 per year, and the mean or average assessment is $461 per year. The total for the street maintenance assessment payable in 2024 is $540,002. That concludes my introduction, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and proceed to open the public hearing for item number 1, the 2024 non-governmental tax-exempt parcel street maintenance assessments. I'll ask the clerk if anyone has signed up, and if anyone is here to speak on that. I'm not seeing anybody else, so I'll close that public hearing on item number 1. Are there any questions from committee members? Seeing none, I will move approval of the 2024 non-governmental tax-exempt parcel street maintenance assessments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and this committee's recommendation will be forwarded to the next week's council meeting for final action. I will now open the public hearing for item number 2. This is the 2024 non-governmental tax-exempt parcel streetlight operation fee assessments. And again, I'll ask the clerk if anybody has signed up to speak. I'm Not seeing anybody else here. Seeing no one else, I will go ahead and close that public hearing. Are there any questions from committee members? All right, seeing none, I will move approval of the 2024 non-governmental tax exempt parcel streetlight operation fee assessments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and this committee's recommendation will be forwarded to next week's council meeting for final action. Our next item of business, item number 3, is a public hearing to consider 2024 proposed services and service charges for the 48th and Chicago, Central Avenue, Dinkytown, Eat Street, Linden Hills, Lowry Hills, Stadium Village, and Uptown Special Service Districts. Mr. Dodds, who will be presenting on these items?
Chair Koski, members of the committee, David Bauer, our Special Service District Project Manager from Transportation Maintenance and Repair, will present on this item.
Thank you, Deputy Director Dodds. Chair Koski, members of the committee, I'm David Bauer, Project Manager, Special Service Districts. Previously, you may recall, we were here before you on September 14th to present the 2024 service charges and services for our 428A Special Service Districts. And as you may remember, 428A refers to the Minnesota state statute that grants municipalities the authority to establish special service districts by ordinance. All the special service districts before you today are legacy districts, meaning that they predate the state statute 428A. However, regardless of the district's origins, all special service districts allow property owners in a commercial area to collectively impose service charges on themselves each year to create a pool of funds. These funds are directed back in the form of enhanced services and special amenities. These enhanced services and special amenities are over and above what the city ordinarily provides. Each special service district is guided by an advisory board that is comprised of property owners or their representative within a district. Each advisory board recommends the services, service frequencies, estimated budget, and the service charge methodology for their district. SSD service charges are included on the affected property owner's regular property tax statements that are issued by Hennepin County. The funds are then transferred from the county to the city and then used to procure services described in their annual work plan. The City of Minneapolis Public Works Department implements the recommended services through a competitive bid process and contracts primarily with third-party vendors to accomplish the work. The city provides all advisory board administration, procurement services, contract management, financial management, and vendor performance monitoring. Advisory board members also monitor service delivery throughout the year to ensure that services are meeting the expectations of property owners within each district. Before you today, we have the 48th and Chicago, Central Avenue, Dinkytown, Eat Street, Linden Hills, Lowry Hills, Stadium Village, and Uptown Special Service Districts, all seeking approval for their 2024 proposed services and service charges. Over the summer, Public Works staff worked with each district's advisory board to recommend the services, prepare a budget, and review their assessment methodology for the coming year. These service charges would be collected on their 2024 real estate taxes in the same manner as special assessments. Each affected property owner was mailed a notice of the public hearing and service charge amount 10 days in advance of this public hearing. Also included in the mailing was a copy of the proposed operating plan and budget. Staff therefore recommends passage of the resolution approving the 2024 operating plan, special services, cost estimates, service charges, and the list of service charges for the coming year for the 40th of Chicago, Central Avenue, Dinkytown, Eat Street, Linden Hills, Lowry Hills, Stadium Village, and Uptown Special Service Districts, and authorizing the Department of Public Works to proceed with the work. And I would like to note that the combined budget cost estimates for these districts amounts to more than $1.4 million in private investment within the Minneapolis public right-of-way. And lastly, I would like to recognize some of the people behind the scenes that make service districts smooth operators. First, it comes from the people. We have over 65 advisory board members across our districts that volunteer their time to provide guidance to staff who deeply value this work. Our service vendors, who are the boots on the ground, rain or shine, and even snow. And then also someone who, excuse me, someone who I'm proud to call a colleague, Michael McLaughlin. He does amazing work. And also Craig Troutman and Gene Stevens are wizards in accounting. Paul Keating, making sure service charges are accurate. And the words of wisdom of street engineer Steve Albert Collin and the good folks in the clerk's office, Public Works leadership, and my predecessor, Andrew Carlson, who set a shining example of what it means to be a professional. This is a team that makes service charges happen for the good people of Minneapolis, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer, for that presentation. I'm going to proceed to open the public hearing. I'll ask the clerk if anyone is here to speak on that. Anybody else here to speak? I'm not seeing anyone else. I'll close that public hearing. Are there any questions from committee members? Councilmember Payne?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Yeah, I have a question. Would you be the right person to talk to if I was interested in supporting our special service districts using some of the resources of the city? I've been pretty vocal about wanting to see something like the DID Safety Ambassador Program on my corridor in Central Avenue, and I'm sure other corridors across the city would be interested in that. Obviously, we can't ask these private organizations to increase their taxes to afford that, but I'm really curious to see how the city could help support some of these service districts in that way. Would you be the right person to set up a meeting with?
Chair Koski, Councilmember Payne, absolutely. And just to kind of speak to that a little bit, our districts outside of downtown, they don't, they have modest budgets. They don't enjoy the economy of scale that the DID has. And ambassador services absolutely are something that we can accomplish across town, but resources are obviously scarcer outside in our business districts, but be happy to work with you. Thank you.
Excellent. I'll reach out.
All right, I'm not seeing any further questions. I will move approval of this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and this committee's recommendation will be forwarded to next week's council meeting for final action. Our next items of business are 2 public hearings to consider amendments to the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances related to the gas and electric franchise fees, increasing the percentage rates of the franchise fees across all classes of customers. Patrick Hanlon, Deputy Health Commissioner of Sustainability, Environment, and Healthy Homes, will be giving one presentation for both of these items. Welcome.
All right, thank you, Chair Koski, council members. I was going to give this entire presentation, and we've, unluckily for us, unluckily for Luke Hollenkamp, who was not able to, had some vacation plans not work out for him. He's able to be here, and he's the expert in this area, so we're lucky enough to have him here today. So we're talking about the Climate Legacy Initiative and the franchise fee increase to make the Climate Legacy Initiative happen. The Climate Legacy Initiative is an innovative way to achieve the city's accelerated climate equity plan. Kim Havey did amazing work earlier this year of bringing that plan forward, along with the input from hundreds, if not thousands, of people throughout this city to weigh in on that climate equity plan, that ambitious plan, and that is our aspirational target. What we're talking about here today is the funding mechanism to achieve the first step of implementing that climate equity plan. It's $10 million of newly dedicated funding focused on equity throughout our city, working on climate action. It will be starting in January of 2024, and this funding triples. We believe it's a practical approach, but it does triple our current climate action investments. And these just make it clear that these funds are in addition to our current climate funding here in the city. So this is the timeline, just to give you a context of where this plan falls into, or where this work falls into the overall plan. So we began working on the climate equity plan earlier this year. Actually, it really goes back to 2019. And there are folks here and in the overflow room that really helped put a lot of this work together, and especially MN350 and the whole coalition of partners that put that work together. In July of 2019, Mayor Fry announced the Climate Legacy Initiative, and that had the different buckets of where these investments will go. We won't go into those details. That is in the mayor's budget, and there was a public hearing on the budget, and there will be more talk about that moving forward, I'm sure. And then July 20th, the council adopted the climate equity plan here, and then there's 2 ways that we're looking at funding. In July 20th, Councilmember Goodman and Shugtai are authoring the 2 pieces of legislation before you today. Today, and this is to show you where we fit in, October 12th is the public hearing on the franchise fee to make all of this work possible and happen. And then it'll be passing before council action, passing before the whole committee on October 19th. So this is just to give you context of where today's conversation falls in. And again, we're talking about the funding to make all of this work possible. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our resident expert here, Sustainability Coordinator Luke Hollenkamp. Thank you very much.
Chair Koski, committee members, thanks for having me today. Appreciate the time. First, I just want to start with a little explanation of what franchise fees are. Many of us that work in this space talk a lot about franchise fees, but it's actually a very nuanced topic. So franchise fees are fees that are paid on customer energy bills. Xcel and CenterPoint collect these fees. They are then paid in bulk to the city of Minneapolis. Our fees in Minneapolis are set by city ordinance. Our franchise agreement with the utilities sets it up as such. And these particular rates then are established and they vary by energy customer type. Here's an example from a typical current residential bill. These are actually my bills, as I'm a City of Minneapolis resident, and you can see highlighted in yellow here where franchise fees are seen on bills as line items. On a CenterPoint bill on the right, they're shown as city franchise fee, and on an Xcel bill on left, they are shown as a city fee. When we went through the process of determining what to bring as a proposal today, we were looking at determining what specific levels of franchise fee to charge by both energy source, electricity versus gas, and by user type. Residential, most commercial industrial users, and then the very largest commercial industrial users. So the goals we laid out was that we wanted to use the existing options available to us that are established in our current franchise agreements with the utilities. So there's some parameters within those franchise agreements on how we can charge franchise fees and on what types of customers. So we used those existing tools that were available to us. We decided that we wanted to raise an additional $10 million. We see this as a great first step towards implementing our climate equity plan. And this is an amount of money that annually will allow us to ramp up our activities. And as Patrick mentioned, this is roughly a threefold or more than threefold increase in our current spending. So this is a relatively large jump compared to where we are currently. We also had the goal of more equally raising revenue between electricity and gas than current collections. Currently, of all the franchise fees the city collects, revenue comes in a greater proportion from electricity than from gas. In the proposal before you today, it's much more level between those two fuels. And we also wanted to create more equality in how the franchise fee impact was felt by different customer classes. So before us here then is the summary of the proposed increases. You have electricity on top and gas to the right. In the last column in each, you'll see the proposed percentages that are before you as an ordinance amendment today. We also show the number of customers in each of these categories. There's 3 categories for each fuel. And within each fuel, then you have a very large category of customer, residential customers in the hundreds of thousands of customers. And then you have a relatively smaller category of the vast majority of commercial industrial customers, about 19,000 of those for electricity and about 12,000 of those for gas. And then there's a category of the very largest or largest specialized energy users category. There's 60 of those in electricity and 50 of those in gas. And to explain a little bit more on how we came to the final column, the proposed franchise fees before you today, I wanted to use electricity as an example. When the current percentages that we have levied are applied to electricity customers, we actually see that the impact on a customer is much greater for a residential customer than for most commercial industrial customers, and much larger for residential customers compared to the largest energy users. This is simply because the largest energy users in the city are charged by the utilities a smaller rate or a lower rate for their energy costs. And then when we put onto that lower energy rate a lower percentage, which is our franchise fee, you end up having this disproportionate franchise fee rate for electricity customers. The reason we're looking at it this way is this is how we often look at energy costs across the system. How much is an actual customer paying per unit of energy? So one of the things we wanted to do is levelize this across customers. So the proposed rates in front of you today then create that much more levelized playing field. So that's why you see higher percentages on those largest use customers, but those higher percentages actually translate into a roughly equivalent effective franchise fee rate for all customers. To step back to residential customers, the impact is relatively minor, and we think that there's obviously a lot of benefits to the program we're proposing. So total energy costs per household in Minneapolis in 2022 were a little over $2,000. That's both electricity and gas combined. Recently, Excel and CenterPoint, in the last few years, they've both had rate increases on the order of about 9% for each of them. That rate increase was about $115 for that typical household. As a point of comparison, then, what we're proposing in front of you today is that this incremental franchise fee rate increase would be on the order of about $12 annually per household in Minneapolis. And the value proposition then that we bring to residents in the city is that that $12 pooled amongst all residential customers creates a lot of really important programming and assistance that residential customers can take advantage of. So for instance, here on the far right, Home Energy Squad, which is a very well-known, popular, and very impactful program, offers free installations in your house of things like programmable thermostats, weather sealing. We currently offer a limited number of free Home Energy Squad visits. We propose to dramatically ramp that up with our funding. And that visit itself can save almost $175 in a typical year on energy costs. We're also then proposing to ramp up our existing program, which is 0% financing for larger energy efficiency projects in homes. We know that 2 out of 3 homes in Minneapolis lack adequate insulation in either their walls or their attics. So combined with a Home Energy Squad visit, doing one of those insulation projects adds roughly another $350 to annual savings. So these 2 programs that we're proposing to increase, amongst many other programs that the budget proposes, can lead to substantial savings for residential customers, obviously much, much greater than the $12 increase that is used to fund these programs. We made sure, though, to look at the impact of those of that franchise fee increase across different demographics and geographic areas of the city to see if there was an inequitable impact. So citywide, again, there's a little bit over a $12 a year increase in franchise fees. That's on top of the citywide average bill of about $2,000. What we actually found is in green zone census tracts that the increase that we're proposing is less than $12, and for non-green zones, the increase is a little bit greater than $12. Similarly, with income, we actually find that the higher the income the household, the larger the franchise fee increase will relate to their energy bills. Again, over $12 for middle and upper income households, and less than $12 for lower income households. And then we also looked at demographics based on race, and we see for census tracts that have less than 40% of residents identifying as BIPOC, the increase in franchise fees is a little over $12 again. If you then look at census tracts where you have more than 40% BIPOC residents, that is roughly the same amount, a little over $12. What we do notice, though, is that when you look at census tracts that have a greater than 65% proportion of BIPOC residents, that the franchise fee impact is greater. It is over $13. So we can see this, that there is somewhat of a disproportional impact there. One of the reasons we believe that is the case is because of well-known phenomenon historically of redlining and the typical disinvestment and lack of investment in many of these BIPOC communities that has likely led to lower quality housing over time, and thus they're actually paying more in annual energy rates, and then unfortunately this rate would increase, would be a little bit greater on them. That being said, we wanted to show the context of how these disproportionate impacts are still very small compared to the larger overall cost of energy. And this has also informed how we, and then in the mayor's office proposal, have made the commitment that of the spending that, or of the programming that results from the Climate Legacy Initiative, we're going to follow the Justice 40 recommendations of the federal government, which is to provide at least 40% of the resources of this $10 million pot to environmental justice communities. So we will be focusing on communities such as census tracts with a higher percent of BIPOC residents and making sure that they receive a larger than proportional share of assistance to help reduce their energy costs and improve their lives. I should also mention that included in your documents today is a much more in-depth racial equity impact analysis that we did. We had the pleasure of working across a number of city departments on this, as well as working with a consultant, Elevate, out of Chicago, that did a lot of this analysis for us. Turning to commercial and industrial buildings, over 99% of commercial and industrial electric customers will see a relatively modest increase in their bills. It's hard to say what a typical commercial industrial customer is. There's obviously a lot of variation in businesses and nonprofits and institutions. So one way we can look at the impact of this cost is that for every $1,000 of current electricity costs for a commercial industrial customer, they would see an increase of $12.50 from our proposal. On the gas side, for every $1,000 of annual gas cost, they would see an increase of about $22.50. One way we can frame this is to look at a recent example of a very large mixed-use building in Minneapolis. This is an actual building, 200,000 square feet, that's located in Minneapolis. It has many different mixed uses within this building. Their energy costs have been estimated by our energy benchmarking program to be roughly $184,000 in recent years. This particular increase before you today would increase their cost by about $3,000 a year. And in this particular example, this building has actually been the recipient of 2 separate Green Cost Share awards in recent years. Those have actually summed up to a little bit more than $100,000 in city funding for them to undertake energy efficiency projects. And that $100,000 has helped fund the projects that are, they have an LED retrofit for the building as well as a roof insulation project. And they're now realizing about $41,000 in savings. So this is an example, again, of how commercial industrial customers will be paying more, but all that money will go to increase a number of programs that we have available to commercial industrial customers, in this case, the Green Cost Share program, which I'm sure is very familiar to this body because it's been a very successful program throughout the city. To wrap up here, I just wanted to reiterate some of the next steps that you saw when Patrick presented. We are obviously at our PWI committee hearing today, and then with a recommendation from this committee, this would go before the committee of the whole and then council of next week. If these proposed changes are enacted, then notice will be sent to the utilities, Xcel Energy and CenterPoint Energy, of these new rates. And then about 60 days later, these rates will go into effect on energy bills citywide. And then January 2024 also coincides with, as Patrick mentioned, when the Climate Legacy Initiative launches and all of those programs that Patrick referenced and that are outlined more in the budget proposal would go into effect as well. And with that, I think we're happy to answer any clarifying questions.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm first going to open up the public hearing for both items number 4 and 5, the gas and electric franchise fee ordinance amendments. I have a list here of anyone who has already signed up to speak, but if you have not signed up and wish to speak, please see the clerk over here. Each person will have 2 minutes, and I ask that you state your name for the record. I'm going to start with Odway Pugh. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of City Council. I live in North Minneapolis in the Green Zone, and I'm a leader of the Northside Green Zone. I am here to urge you to pass a full funding to support healthy homes in all Minneapolis. Our community in the Green Zone is forced to breathe unhealthy air inside and outside our homes. Our energy bills are extremely high. My gas bill was so high last winter, I thought it was an error, until I got the same bill the following month. I'm trying to figure out how my gas bill tripled since I purchased my home 16 years ago. Mid to low income homes need insulation to stay warm in the winter. We need electric appliances to reduce the very high incidence of asthma in our children and to move away from fossil fuels like gas. But many of the neighbors and I don't have the money to pay for insulation, electric appliances, and growing costs of utility bills. Many of us don't qualify for tax incentives. The only way our community can get the benefits is for the city to step up and fill in the gaps in federal and state funding. One way to get rid of the air pollution that is causing heat waves, fires, and floods is to help everyone to make these changes in their homes. We only get one Earth. It is our responsibility to do our part. We have messed it up, so it's now up to us to fix it. We must do this, and we have to do this together. We matter, I matter, you matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Kelly Sanderson. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Kelly Sanderson. I'm a member of Ward 8, and I support the Climate Legacy Initiative because I see the Climate and Equity Plan as the most important investment we can make in my kids and our collective kids to have a safe and healthy and equitable future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Alan Campbell. And just a reminder, please state your name for the record.
Chair Koski, members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Alan Campbell. I live in the West McCoska neighborhood of Minneapolis. I'm here to speak today the need for dedicated funding to raise $10 million a year to implement the city's climate and equity plan. The best and most cost-efficient way to achieve the climate goals of this plan is to reduce energy use through conservation and efficiency. In many of the city's low-income and BIPOC neighborhoods, especially those in the city's green zones, most of the housing stock was built before 1940. These old buildings tend to be poorly insulated, making them expensive to heat and cool. For example, in the Midtown Phillips neighborhood, Minnesota Compass data shows that 64% of the housing stock was built before 1940, and 60% of renters are cost-burdened, meaning they need to pay more than 30% of their income on housing. Besides contributing to inequity, heating these older buildings with fossil gas is a major source of the city's greenhouse gas emissions. Residential buildings with 1 to 4 units accounted for 23% of the city's greenhouse gas emissions in 2021. Weatherization of these older buildings would be a cost-effective step to meeting the city's greenhouse gas emission goals, as well as a step toward equity by cutting the costs of living in the city's most stressed neighborhoods. Weatherization would also create jobs paying a living wage in the city's green zones. A dedicated Climate Legacy Initiative Fund could provide millions of dollars each year toward weatherization. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Next, I have Michelle Hensley, and then I'm just going to list off a few people who will be after. I have Emmer Griffin, Spencer Polk, and Jeremy Winter. So first we'll have Michelle Hensley. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Michelle Hensley from Ward 9, and I'm here today to urge you to think about not just the $10 million that will be needed to get things going in the first year of the Climate Equity Plan, but it's going to take a lot more than that to really do what you set out to do in that plan. I hope that whatever franchise fee is adopted continues to get more and more equitable, because I noticed in that presentation the biggest greenhouse gas polluters are still paying a lesser percentage than residential owners. That doesn't seem right. But it seems like even with federal and state funding, the city of Minneapolis is going to need to come up with billions. We're talking the magnitude of billions of dollars. And I'm here to urge all of you to have the courage and the determination to stand up to those polluters who have been spewing greenhouse gases into our air for decades, if not centuries, if you think of the big picture, without having to pay. So to really get the goals of your climate equity plan met over the next 10 years, it's going to take more than 10 million, a lot more. And I hope you all have the determination to make that happen in an equitable way. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Emmer Griffin.
Thank you. My name is Emma Griffin. I'm a resident of the Bancroft neighborhood in Ward 8, and I have been supporting and working to these organizations for this plan for a while now because I do believe it is so important. I, of course, have always tried to make the right decisions as a homeowner to support my family and their health and to keep our energy costs low, but I do not have the resources to figure out to figure this out
Go
on
ahead,
my
keep
own.
going.
So I do believe it is crucial that as we consider this funding, that this is rolled out in a coordinated fashion across neighborhoods. It is so hard as a parent, as a supporter of my family, to even just maintain our house, let alone make the kinds of improvements that need to be made. And I would love to have support and help to figure out what the right thing is to do and how to do it efficiently. I believe that this funding needs to be meaningful, so I support the idea of $10 million in dedicated funding, but also to continue to ramp it up as this program continues so that we can do the things we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Spencer Polk. Welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Koski and other council members of the committee. My name is Spencer Polk. I'm a resident of Ward 9. I'm here to support the franchise fees given their equitable redistribution as the first step towards a fully funded climate equity plan. I want to thank the Health Department, Sustainability Division, and the Elevate team for helping bringing these ordinances forward and for including community members like myself in the development of the climate equity plan. I'm a month-to-month renter in the Minneapolis Southside Green Zone, an area with a greater energy cost burden and bearing disproportionate impacts of climate change, such as stronger heat waves, less resilient infrastructure, and poorer air quality than the rest of the city. I live with 9 others in an intentional community, which helps keep living affordable, but I still pay more than 30% of my income on rent. I frequently wake up to the nauseating smell of the foundry and asphalt plants, and now in the summer's wildfire smoke has been added to that. In the winter, we have to put insulating plastic over our windows and use expensive space heaters to keep parts of our home from freezing in winter months. I cook meals with my housemates, breathing in gas stove fumes that link to asthma. My unhoused neighbors, displaced from increasing housing costs, bear an even greater burden of the escalating climate emergency. Every person, regardless of their zip code, race, or income, deserves to live in a comfortable, healthy, and affordable home. I support these franchise fees with the intent that the revenues are systemically redirected back into areas most cost burdened to weatherize and electrify homes block by block, supported by an equitable, clean energy workforce making homes more healthy and energy efficient. We need more than 40% directed towards EJ communities. I also know that $10 million is not enough, and we're going to get every home in my neighborhood and across the city weatherized to deal with the climate emergency. We need to expand beyond $10 million in the years to come and implement new policies like rent stabilization, support for community land trusts, and shared equity housing models to ensure that public investments in climate equity like these are not used by the private sector to displace or extract more wealth from housing cost-burdened renters. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Polk. Next, we have Jeremy Winter, and then I'm going to list off the next 4 after that. We have Brian Kronk, Carol Engelhardt, Ken Engelhardt, and Patrice Kolsch. Jeremy Winter, welcome.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Jeremy Winter. I am 27 years old. I am a renter in South Minneapolis, Ward 9. By the time I am able to retire, it will be 2061. I've been saving up for retirement because I know that I need to do so as early as possible if I want a viable income stream by the time I'm of age. If I were to start saving at age 55, 60, it'd likely be far too late. In the same vein, we need to start putting aside money for the future of our climate post-haste. Platitudes will not suffice. Only good policy backed by consistent, steady, long-term funding can make a difference. I wonder sometimes about the Minneapolis of 2061, if it'll be a habitable city. My stomach churns when I realize that if we don't do something now, it will likely be habitable only by those with enough money to shield themselves from the climate that we've created. As for my children, I doubt any amount of individual savings will protect them from climate change. Only collective government action will ensure that they too get to skate on a frozen lake. that they too will be able to enjoy our wonderful park system, that they too will be able to breathe. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Brian Kronk. Welcome.
Members of City Council, thank you for your time. My name's Brian Cronky. I grew up in Ward 7. I live there now. I'm a voter. I share just about everything my friends and soon-to-be colleagues have said about all this, but I want to add one thing. I think it's really a moment of opportunity for Minneapolis, and by leading the country in a sense and investing in this now and charting a course to higher investments and really creating a climate refuge of sorts. We have a pathway to filling downtown back up with residents and businesses. We have a pathway to becoming a more vibrant and equitable city in every way. And I just hope you take all the steps necessary to get there. Hi, Lisa. Oh, good for you. Okay, well, thanks again.
Thank you. I also want to recognize we've been joined by Vice President Palmisano and Councilmember Goodman here. Next, we have Carol Engelhardt.
Hello, thank you for having us. I'm Carol Engelhardt. I live in Ward 12, and I have for the last 16, 17 years. But I come today to speak to you from my heart as a grandmother. Every time we pick up our grandchildren to bring them back to our home in South Minneapolis, we go over the river bridge, and they're so excited to see the Mississippi River. And then my husband and I comment to each other, will there be a Mississippi River in years to come when they're our age? So I am speaking today for them, for our future. And I'm asking you, I know people are saying it's enough, but 10 million is a start. We've got to have an equitable plan that reduces carbon emissions. When you think of how high the heat got this summer, it was just our yard. We built a house 5 years ago, and we can't get our grass to grow. That's crazy. I feel like I'm living in Arizona in the summer. Not quite that bad, but I mean, but anyway, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Ken Engelhardt? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity to speak. I'm here as a resident of Ward 12 asking for your full support and complete funding for the Climate Equity Plan. Life in Minnesota makes it obvious that we need to do something about climate change. Year after year, we're seeing a relentless increase in record-setting temperatures. In fact, this last year was the hottest summer ever recorded on the planet. It was so hot in the Twin Cities in early October with temps in the low 90s that the Twin Cities Marathon had to be canceled in early October because of temps in the low 90s. We have had a record number of air quality alerts in the Twin Cities because of thousands of wildfires in Canada caused by the effects of climate change. We are also seeing year after year of drought. It is also important to recognize the impact of climate change on those that are most vulnerable among us. That's why the equity component is so important. Those people most vulnerable are experiencing the brunt of the effect of climate change. So I'd ask you to think about the legacy that you're leaving for our children and grandchildren, and also to think that without a livable planet, what else really matters? I mean, everything else that we work on becomes moot if we don't have a planet that's livable. So I'm asking once again for complete support and full funding of a climate equity plan for the Twin Cities and for the state of Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engelhardt. Next, we have Patrice Kolsch, and I'm going to just list off a few others so they can get ready. We have Bonnie Beckel, Ron Eldred, Maria Anderson, Loppett, and then Carol Cafferty. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. My name is Patrice Kelch, and I've lived in the Seward neighborhood for 4 decades. It is imperative to use the $10 million proposed in the mayor's budget to create a robust, dedicated funding stream to make bold climate justice policy a reality. We need to prioritize investment in communities of color and low-income communities. We need to recover funds from pollution through the franchise fee to ensure that those profiting from carbon pollution pay in fixing the problem. The $10 million in the city's 2024 budget can be the foundation for planning and early implementation and experimentation to decarbonize residential buildings in the north and south green zones, and for planning and implementing the development of a clean energy climate workforce as a pathway to union jobs for community members. And this is just the beginning of a transition to an equitable and clean energy resilient future in Minneapolis. Ultimately, earmarked funds from the state, the federal government, and the utilities will all be involved in this transition. Cities can apply for funds from the Inflation Reduction Act to address the climate emergency, so the city of Minneapolis can and should play a critical role in ramping up funding and becoming a financing partner to decarbonize equitably. It starts with $10 million from the utility franchise fees in 2024, but it will take your sustained interest and investment to fully implement the plan that you unanimously passed in July. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Bonnie Beckel. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Bonnie Beckel, and I live in Ward 9. Good to see you today. I will be very happy to see the city move forward with the proposal to spend $10 million for the first year of launching the effort to transition Minneapolis toward a livable future. Passing the Climate Equity Plan has been a brilliant and essential step. And the full costs of this transition make it necessary to increase the amounts we're spending. The costs of this are high. We estimate over $2 billion over the next 2 decades. But we know the costs of not doing it are exponentially so much higher. It is time to face the reality of this cost and the necessity of that investment. The city needs to stand strong in the face of the predictable backlash from carbon polluters. Carbon polluters need to get on the same page as us, your community leaders, saying we need to make this transition with the urgency that life on Earth deserves. The city may need to give up any perceived benefits they get from being in the pockets of polluters. I also need to say that as the project moves forward, we can't do it in the business as usual way of making these changes available based on people's ability to personally contribute to the costs or personally take initiative to insulate, electrify, and get energy efficient windows, for example. Equitable means everyone getting access to these investments in a clean energy future that we'll all benefit from. So thanks for listening and fully funding a community-centered green future here in Minneapolis.
Thank you. Next, we have Ron Eldred. Welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. I want to say, first of all, that I am personally pleased at the 2023 plan and I want you and the rest of the city council and the mayor to know that. I want to add my voice to almost everyone else who is insisting that we don't have enough money, that $10 million is only a start and is not nearly enough money to carry out this plan. I read the 98-page plan. I loved it. But there aren't a whole lot of numbers in it. And when you put numbers to it, it gets past $10 million in a big hurry. I have a second thing. It's where I want to start, see the plan start. I want to see many people hired from the green zones as electricians and craftsmen that are going to be needed to carry out this plan. And once they're trained, I want them to be put to work immediately to begin the work and to begin it in the green plans. The equity part is the most exciting part of the plan to me, and I wanted to start there. You all have immense and busy jobs, but you know that right behind you, we are urging you on with critical eyes and ears. We're ready to thank you, but also to point out our suggestions in the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Maria Anderson Lippert, and just a quick reminder to please state your name for the record when you come up and speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Anderson Lippert, and I serve as a pastor at University Lutheran Church of Hope in Dinkytown in Ward 3. And I'm here today in support of the $10 million for the Climate Equity Plan because I believe every household and apartment complex should benefit from these clean energy solutions. And there's an ideology in our culture that people want the desire to make choices around these types of things, which is often backed by major corporations that benefit from and profit from this idea. But climate change is a collective problem, and collective problems need collective solutions. And our congregation is in the heart of a neighborhood occupied almost entirely by renters. The number of people who own their homes and live in them in our neighborhood, you could probably count on one or two hands. And this means that many people in our community and in our neighborhood wouldn't benefit from the plan at all if it's a personal opt-in option. So we have an unprecedented opportunity at this time, as many of you know, to transition to clean energy. And as we move towards a collective solution, and rather than requiring individual households to not opt in, neighborhoods like ours in Dinkytown would incredibly benefit from the city taking a lead to create collective solutions or collective implementation of these issues. So I urge you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Carol Cafferty, and then the next four will be Dan Turner, Evan Mulhand, Kelsey Murphy, and Kate Hevelson. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Carol Cafferty, and I live in the Linden Hills neighborhood in Minneapolis. Every person, no matter what we look like, where we live, what's in our wallets, we all deserve to breathe clean air and live in a healthy neighborhood and a safe climate. The climate crisis is getting worse by the minute, and we are on the verge of the tipping point where we won't be able to save our planet. However, due to legislation passed at both the federal and state levels, we have an opportunity to act locally and take advantage of what was passed. With 100% clean energy passed at the state level, utilities will be moving to 100% clean energy by 2040. At the city level, we can take the next step by electrifying and weatherizing our homes and buildings and eliminating the fossil fuels in all buildings. With the Inflation Reduction Act passed at the federal level, there are funds available to help us do this. We need help from the city to take advantage of this moment. Our gas water heater recently died. And so we're checking on replacing it with a heat pump water heater. But it's hard to do the right thing. First of all, it's very expensive. Next, most contractors don't know or sell or install heat pump water heaters. They just want to slap in another gas water heater because that's what they know. That's what they've always done. But we are running out of time to make this transition. We don't have 100 years. So I thank the council members for committing to allocate $10 million in the 2024 budget to work toward this goal, but we need to make sure that this money is spent to figure out how to do this on scale. And we'll need even more money in subsequent years. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Next, we have Dan Turner. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Dan Turner, and I've lived in the Seward neighborhood for 42 years. When I moved to Minneapolis in 1981, I already knew that global warming was an existential threat, not only to thousands of species, but to civilization itself. Since then, the remediative actions that humanity has taken are a drop in the bucket compared to what's needed, and disasters continue to get more extreme. Passing the Climate Inequity Plan and devoting $10 million to a first year of implementing it is a great start. Good job. Thank you. But it's only a start. Meeting our carbon pollution reduction targets is going to require much, much more, both in funding and in workforce development, as others have said. If the city follows through in a sustained and systemic fashion, over the next 10 years, we have an opportunity to make sure every Minneapolis resident lives in a safe, healthy, climate-resilient neighborhood. It will not be enough if only wealthier, more connected residents are able to take advantage of the city's carbon reduction efforts. Neighborhoods most harmed by past pollution injustices should be given top priority. Given the enormity and the cost of the threat, the response needs to be adequate to the task. The city needs to stay focused and secure funding over multiple years to meet the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Evan Mulholland.
That's me.
Welcome.
Hey everyone, thank you for giving us all the opportunity to speak. I'm really happy to be here. I've been organizing with some of these people for like months and months, 2 years, I think. And also thanks to the staff who put all this together. I really appreciate these particular three gentlemen. My name is Evan Mulholland. I am here, I live in Minneapolis, and I support the Climate Legacy Initiative that we're talking about today. We need to decarbonize all of our buildings and homes as soon as possible. We want them to be safe, affordable, and carbon-free. Let's get this done. I cut my gas service about a year ago. I turned everything in my house electric. It cost like $20,000. It was super expensive, but we did it because I believed this is what we had to do. And also I had a bunch of old stuff that needed to be replaced. We need this for everybody. If we get this done and we increase funding like we're talking about, we're gonna increase jobs, reduce pollution, and let's start spending this money right away. Focus on the green zones. So that's it, and I hope you support it. I hope you increase it in years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kelsey Murphy. Welcome.
Hi. All right, hi everyone. My name is Kelsey Murphy. I am a resident of the St. Anthony West neighborhood in Ward 3, and I'm here to express my support for the Climate Legacy Initiative. I am, like Evan, very excited to be here. I felt very empowered and just supported by the efforts the city has made in the past year to start making real climate action happen in our home. And I also kind of wanted to share some of the perspectives of a few of my friends who through choice aren't here today. I've been involved in climate activism for a few years now, and they've always supported me as friends do, but they have always been a little hesitant to get involved because they've always thought, well, government doesn't listen to you anyway, especially if you're young. And I understand where this feeling comes from. We were all born after the Cold War, so growing up, climate change has always been the greatest threat that we have faced as a society, as humanity in general. We talked about the science in school and how dangerous it was going to be for our communities. We talked about the impacts in our economics courses, in our social studies courses, in our current events courses. And so that always made it feel like, yes, this is a major thing that's coming towards us. We need to be mobilizing everybody to do something. And yet we would look at our government at all levels, federal, state, local, and see nothing happen. And even worse, we would see those governments support projects that made fossil fuel emissions worse, even though activists and scientists were basically begging for something to happen. So based on that, I understand where they're coming from, but I feel like we've had a sea change in the past couple of years. It started with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act at the federal level. This past legislative session, our state has done a ton to support us, and now the city has passed a climate equity plan, and they're taking this real initiative to fund it. So I just want to say thank you for proving me right, and I hope you continue to do so. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kate Haviland, and then the next four people are Lisa Rudolph, Kent Fritz Smead, Lee Samuelson, and Jay Lieberman. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Kate Haviland, and I'm a renter in Ward 3. And renters make up the majority of Minneapolis residents, as you all know, and we cannot change our heating system. We can't change our washer, dryer, swap out our stove. We need a collective solution, and that's what you all can make happen. I want to first thank you very much for your July votes on the climate equity plan. Next week, you can back up those unanimous vote that the council took in July, the hottest July on record. You can back up your vote with the money that makes a difference. We need to recruit green zone residents to get those good union jobs so they can begin retrofitting all of our homes block by block. This has to be a community-wide response. It can't be individual homeowners who have enough money to do it. That's not how this is going to make a difference in climate change or equity. This is our chance to respond to both of those serious emergencies our city faces, climate change and equity, and they need to be worked on together. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lisa Rudolph. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Lisa Rudolph. I live in Ward 6, and I'm here mostly on behalf of my mother, who also lives in Ward 6. She lives in a huge complex. There are 5 buildings, and it takes up 2 city blocks, and some of them are 5-story, some of them are 8-story buildings. She's 93 years old, and lots of the people who live in her complex are 80 and 90 years old. That's very common. It's also changed in the last several years since she moved in. It is all now also including lots of people who are on low income or fixed income coming from the county to live in the building. And it's a great example of what can be done when the county works with other private agencies. But it's never going to get climate anything without the city's money. There are lots of people who are on fixed income like my mother, who are renters like all of these people, and those are the people who need the support of the money that the city has promised, the $10 million that you all have pledged. And we're excited that it's going to happen, because that might allow my mother, who has asthma, who every time she goes outside she coughs and her nose runs eternally, all the people with health issues in the city who need the support of the money that the council has pledged. When I look at the 12-month plan for 2024, I'm super excited for lots of things that could help big complexes like the one she lives in. So thank you for your support, and we'll look forward to your vote next Thursday.
Thank you. Next, we have Kent Fritz Smead. Welcome.
Hi, council members. My name's Kent Fritz Smead. I live in Ward 2 in Seward neighborhood.
I'm also a retired faculty from Minneapolis Community and Technical College. I still serve on the Sustainability Committee at the college. The college developed a climate action plan back in 2011 and has reduced its total energy, electricity and gas, by over 50% over that period of time, 13 or so years. I only bring that up to give you a sense of the scale and the time of the task before us to decarbonize the city. As others have pointed out, the City Council signed on to a plan to insulate 40,000 homes by 2040 and cut emissions in big buildings by 75%, and to weatherize 5,000 homes by 2030. It's a big calling. Those are incredible goals. The numbers just scream at me. But they don't really mean much without the financial commitment to back them up. And what the ask here today has been, as you've heard, is a small down payment on what's required. And so I'm here to support the franchise fees on the energy bills, and I'm hopeful that they can be made more equitable. Okay, thank you for hearing all of us today, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I should add, there's a backpack. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Appreciate that neighborly support. Lee Samuelson. Welcome.
Yeah, Vice Chair Koski, members of the committee, Lee Samuelson from Ward 12. I was there 6 years ago when the council first created a clean energy franchise fee without a peep of opposition from anyone, but then BET member Carol Becker warned that the city would divert its revenue to other uses, and without transparency and oversight, she may have been correct. And so to find out where those dollars went, I had to ask both Kim Havey and Councilmember Johnson, but the community watching here deserves to have that info freely available going forward. I support both ordinances because residents and businesses will get the money they pay into it back through energy savings, and we need enough revenue for the city to create a collective, coordinated program to deliver that promise, which makes it easy rather than burdensome to find trusted contractors and financing for insulation, heat pumps, etc. And I took part in multiple meetings several years ago when Extel and Centerpoint teamed up with CE for the Lake Street Energy Challenge. And it fell short of its energy saving goals for two reasons. First, they expected volunteers to do their outreach work for free. And second, these, quote, partners in energy weren't willing to modify their programs in response to feedback we gave, such as in supporting inclusive financing or accessibility to renters. And we cannot afford to repeat those two mistakes. And I watched as Minneapolis' 2013 Climate Action Plan goals languished because both utilities and CE had not made available energy efficiency, electrification, and clean energy programs that don't require down payments, debt, or property ownership. And we need to have enough revenue to resource topic-specific implementation teams for the Climate Equity Plan. And the MN 350 originated ward teams can team up with neighborhood orgs and advisory groups that sustainability staff facilitated last fall. And while the extra $10 million may be good for 2024, we will need a greater amount of dedicated funding in future years once we have the implementation teams fully underway. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jay Lieberman, and I'm going to list off the next four. Kawhi Washburn, Jonathan Haves, Galen Bricking, and Sarah Lopez. Welcome, Mr. Lieberman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name's Jay Lieberman. I am a homeowner in the Longfellow neighborhood. In fact, my house has been in wards 2, 9, and is now in ward 12. For the past 8 years, especially since I retired, I've been supporting and working with organizations that are working for climate equity, a better climate future, a more equitable future. And that includes a year and a half I spent with the People's Climate and Equity Plan. The Climate Equity Plan that you passed was a big step forward. It's the most concrete thing that I've seen done in this city, and it's a model for cities everywhere. So, to be brief, because so many people have said so many wonderful things before me, I'm urging you to vote for the Climate Legacy Fund so we can begin the implementation of the Climate Equity Plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kawhi Washburn. Welcome.
Thank you. Chair Kowski, City Council members, Vice President Palmisano. My name is Kawhi Washburn. I am a resident of Ward 13 in Minneapolis for the last 4 years. I'm originally from the islands of Hawaii in the Pacific. The reefs that I played near as a child, the nature preserve that I proposed to my wife in, and many other places that I hold dear to my heart are going to be wiped out by rising sea levels and ocean acidification. I left Hawaii and moved to California, where we were exposed to incredibly destructive wildfires that led my children to cough throughout the night for weeks on end. We finally come to Minneapolis. We've been here for 4 years. And now is the time to start implementing the changes that will prevent some of the things that I'm going to go through and have already been through with my family. If you ask me if I'm willing to pay $12 and more to support the reduction of the poisoning of the air for all of my neighbors in Minneapolis, if you ask me if I'm willing to support $12 and more for long-term, good-paying union jobs for the most underemployed parts of this city, if you ask me if I'm willing to pay $12 and more so that my neighbors can have warm houses and affordable energy bills for the foreseeable future, and if you ask me if I'm willing to pay $12 and more to help prevent some of the worst effects of climate change, the answer is absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jonathan Haves. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Koski and members of the committee. My name is Jonathan Harms, and I'm a resident in Ward 1 in Northeast Minneapolis. I'm so excited and proud of the city's broad agreement about this $10 million pilot from the Health Department and the city's consensus around the urgency to address the climate crisis coming. My wife and I are starting to think about our first kid, anxiously, fretfully, crazily sometimes, and we are laser focused on the harsh realities of the world that we're going to have to show them. The only way I can tell my kid that we collectively made progress today is if we recognize and respond to the scale of the calamity that we and they will face. Increasing industrial franchise fees to match what residents already paid is a minimum. It's a basic step in recognizing the costs and hardships that are headed our way. And I want to echo other comments that more is going to be needed. I also want to point out something that we learned over the pandemic, that when we choose to leave other people behind, we all suffer. I urge the council and the health department to continually ask, as you prepare for implementation, who are we leaving behind? Are we addressing this block by block? I'm a big fan of the plan as presented. I love its priorities, all that it tries to accomplish, but when you break down the numbers, there's only $4.5 million for residential improvements, supported with 0% financing. It's admirable to make sure that people with low incomes don't pay interest, but after state and federal funding, that leaves a check of thousands of dollars that many don't have. We don't need 0% financing, we need 100% financing, bridging the gaps in funding from other sources. $10 million is only the tip of what we need, and we'll need coordination to make sure that renters don't bear the brunt of these costs. Thank you so much for the hard work you're doing. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Harms. Next, we have Galen Bicking. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Galen Bicking, and I live in the 9th Ward. I support the equity plan. $10 million is a start. It's a good start, but we need to think about the future. We need to have a steady stream of funding. I am here for my children, my grandchildren, our city, and our state. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sarah Lopez, and then I'll list off the next few. We have Bill Adamaski, Patty O'Keefe, Liam Norman, Howard Dotson, and Alice Madden.
Chair
Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, Chair Koski and members of the Public Works and Infrastructure Committee. My name is Sarah Lopez, and I live in the Ward 7. I'm the Policy Director of Unidos, a power building organization working at the intersection of racial, economic, environmental, and immigration justice. We organize a multiracial base that centers the essential workers and the mixed status families that kept our city going throughout the pandemic, and who are disproportionately experiencing the negative effects of the health emergency. I am here in support of the Climate Legacy Initiative. For far too long, corporate polluters and utilities have invested in systems that have led to undeniable change to our climate. The ability of families to keep their houses cool in summer and warm in winter, and as well to afford their bills, requires the kind of visionary investment that will transform our communities. The Climate Legacy Initiative represents that on-ramp. We call on you today to fund our futures, to continue funding dignified homes and neighborhoods, to ensure all families have access to good, green jobs to support their families, and to transform our city and the way we think about critical investments. For that, we are calling on the council to approve $10 million in the 2024 budget and to launch a block-by-block rollout. This investment will ensure that every single Minneapolitan, regardless of race, zip code, immigration status, has a safe, dignified, and green future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Bill Adamski. My apology. Welcome.
Welcome. Yes, my name is Bill Adamski. I am a resident in Ward 8, and I don't have that much extra to add to all the fine comments that have been put forth this afternoon. I will encourage you to take action to provide funding, knowing that the city is not alone in fighting for climate change, to stop climate change, in that there is climate initiatives coming from the federal government through the Inflation Reduction Act and through the state of Minnesota with its 100% Clean Energy Act, which was put in effect earlier this year. Building upon those actions, Minneapolis can make a statement with their commitment, which would be shown by funding it for initially $10 million and making a difference. I just want to point out that the last, one of the things about climate change is the extreme weather variability that has come with it. And just point out the last 3 springs here in the Twin Cities area have started out with cool and wet weather, and by summer turned into hot and drought type conditions. So these wacky weather situations are definitely a product of global warming, which is affecting us right now. Thank you very much, and I hope that you fund the Climate Action Plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Patty O'Keefe. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Patty O'Keefe. I am a Ward 8 resident. I am also the co-chair of EVAC. I'm not here speaking on behalf of EVAC, but I will just say as an EVAC member, I am very excited and pleased that we are having this conversation today, and I'm very supportive of the proposal that's coming forward. I'm also on staff at Sierra Club, and with that hat on, just wanted to say that we are also very supportive of the Climate Legacy Initiative, especially following the passage of what is definitely one of the strongest climate action plans in the country. And others have said this, and just about how more money ultimately is going to be needed, and that we agree with that. And this is a big first step and a huge commitment, and we just want to, it's a watershed moment. If Minneapolis commits in this way, it is going to send signals to cities all across the country that this is what local leadership looks like on climate change, on clean energy. And if it's done right and done equitably, it's also what local leadership looks like on economic justice, on environmental justice. It is, right, it's a lot of money, but investing this money in clean energy and climate, it's investing obviously in stopping climate change. It's also investing in housing affordability and economic affordability, and generally making people more comfortable and feeling more comfortable and safe in their homes. Just want to emphasize that it goes beyond what you think of as climate if we're doing this and prioritizing the right communities and investing in it in the right way. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. O'Keefe. Next, we have Liam Norman. Welcome.
Hello, Council. My name is Liam Norman, and I live in Ward 3. First, I want to thank you for passing the Climate Equity Plan this summer. That was a great step in the right direction, and it let the city know that you have our best interest in mind. Excuse me. Now it's time to walk the walk. Climate change can be extremely daunting to think about. When I imagine having kids, it just makes me sad that climate worry is something that comes to mind right away. That's messed up, and my kids don't even exist yet. People in Minneapolis deal with climate change every day, but there are steps we can take that will have a real, immediate, lasting impact, not only on the citizens of Minneapolis, but on the climate as a whole. You voted on the Climate Equity Plan this summer, and now is when the follow-up happens. Not only will funding this plan start the process of building a safer, cleaner, more equitable Minneapolis for all of our neighbors, not just those in affluent areas, but it'll also set an inspiring, energizing, and exciting example for other cities. Like I said, climate change is daunting to think about, but funding actionable steps towards addressing it gives me hope that a better future is out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Howard Dotson.
Afternoon, Chair, council members. I am a new resident of North Minneapolis as of this week. I've been commuting from Fridley, but I was born at Minneapolis General, came up in Camden. So, the teacher in me wants to give you a homework assignment. I want you to YouTube We Are the World. When I was 15 years old, artists came together because people were starving in Ethiopia. When you drive 94 and you see the Cedar Riverside apartments, I want you to remember the people of Somalia, the millions who are facing starvation because of drought and famine related to climate change. 34 million children worldwide are being impacted by climate change. Many people don't know this about Syria. I've been to 31 countries as a missionary, as a soldier, as a humanitarian. I have that global citizen lens on things. What happened in Syria before the civil war was climate change. Their agrarian economy was impacted by climate change that destabilized a government that led to a civil war that led to 6 million refugees. Last December, I was in Ukraine. I was in Odessa. I saw the port that's being bombed right now. That grain was critical to saving lives in Somalia. We are in an interconnected world. One tangible solution is for the climate zones to invest in thermal coating, a patent for $500,000. The city could give that to whoever you vendor for paint. So when you do the windowsills for lead, you can thermal coat the houses. This thermal coating reduces the surface degrees by 12 degrees. You invest in that, and you will have, with the lack of tree canopy, you reduce the temperature, people will not have to use as much AC. There are concrete solutions. Thank you for investing and saving these victims of climate change.
Thank you. Next, we have Alice Madden. And then the next three are Sean Golaushi, Alana Percher, and Kevin Krantz. Welcome, Ms. Madden.
Thank you, Vice Chair Koski and members of the council, and particularly to staff for that really excellent presentation. You all are so lucky to have such talented staff preparing that information for you in such clear visuals with lots of data. I'm here as a resident of Ward 9, and my name is Alice Madden. I'm also here representing Community Power, who is a member of the Just Transition Fund Coalition, which is a Minneapolis coalition that's energy democracy, labor, immigrant rights, faith communities, and climate justice organizations. I want to thank you again for passing the Climate Action Plan, and just reiterate very briefly, this is a first step, and that the funding that you're voting on soon is about funding the actual implementation of the plan that you passed. And that's often a step that cities miss. I also want to say the federal government and the state government won't save us and often are blunt instruments to the tailored community needs, exemptions, off-ramps, cost shelters that communities need in order to experience this type of funding in an equitable way. And the federal government often can't do that, and the state government often can't do that. And so please don't wait. You all are often the leaders in this position. I also come here asking you for two things in the same spirit that everyone else I think speaking today has. We'll be looking for you from you in the coming months a clear plan to scale up and phase in the funding. Hundreds of millions of dollars annually at minimum is needed to forestall the worst impacts of climate change. And as one economics writer recently put it about future damages, there is effectively no way for policymakers anywhere to do too much or go too fast on decarbonization. The risk of overdoing it is vanishingly small, if not impossible. Just as important here is making clear exemptions and off-ramps, as I mentioned, for people who need it, thinking about that $13 versus $12 visual that you saw in Luke's presentation. And finally, just community oversight and governance that actively includes those residents who are most deeply impacted in the decision-making. Thank you so much. There's lots to figure out, and we want this to be done with us and not to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Madden. Next, we have Sean Golaushi.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. I'm in Jason Chavez, Ward 9, and it was just a super great pleasure to be in the working groups to help write the Climate Action Plan. It's been just amazing to see how the team has pulled together so many different bright minds from across the city. And so the 4 requests I have today, number 1, pass the $10 million for the franchise fee. Number 2, let's make the most of all the state and federal money coming through. And then how are we going to make the most of all this federal money? Let's create strategy teams for each of the strategies in the Climate Action Plan so that we can have people from the state agencies, the county, community groups, all kind of teaming up on how to get it done. For example, there's 25% more federal weatherization money, but how do you get more people signed up? How can you help the houses get weatherized? And then the third thing, or the fourth thing, is to let's have every neighborhood in the city have a $1,000 stipend per year for a neighborhood climate action plan liaison who can help stay in touch between the neighborhood block club and neighborhood association board and the city sustainability department to help promote things like home energy squad, and also help the neighborhood to be able to apply for contracts to be paid to do outreach on things like weatherization, tree planting. So I think we have a decent chance of pulling together a lot of money because Minneapolis is quite good at getting federal grants. So let's get it out to the neighborhoods so they can do the door knocking we need to help get everybody signed up. So anyway, there's a piece of paper that has all this on there I'm going to hand around here. So, okay, thanks. Yep.
Thank you. Next, Alana Percher. Welcome.
Thank you. We might both be commenting. Let's see.
You're both welcome.
So I'm here in support of climate action. I am concerned about the warming planet for my sake and for his. The climate scientists have made it really clear that we have a mandate to, cut emissions globally in half in a few short years to hit some planetary warming targets that are going to be pretty hard to hit. So it's daunting. There's a lot of work to do. And I'm personally on a long-term job search to figure out how I can, figure out day-to-day work that will help stabilize our climate. So council, you already have that job. You are in a position to make change, and you have already voiced your commitment to make the change that we need to see. And that is going to mean really big changes for our city. So when there are big changes, there are winners and losers. There is an opportunity to make the residents of the city of Minneapolis winners in the energy transition. That is something we can start next year. That climate and equity plan is something I've been supporting for a while. It seems really good. I'm excited about it. There's a lot of good stuff, and we need to fund it. We need to spend a lot of money. $10 million is great. We need to spend lots of money for the kind of collective action that we can't really do as individuals, and creating jobs, decreasing energy poverty, creating resilience in our city, and creating a model for concrete climate action on the ground here in town. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kevin Krantz. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Kevin Krantz. So first and foremost here, I'm a resident of the Ward 2 part of Cedar Riverside and a renter. But I'm also a new student at the Humphrey School studying environmental policy. I'm interning at Ramsey County to support the development of a climate action framework. So I spend a lot of time thinking about this stuff between being a resident, a student, and a paraprofessional. So you probably know this, but one of the biggest bangs for our buck in terms of energy sector emission savings is residential weatherization. It is one of the lower cost and more equitable methods to conserve energy and reduce emissions, but only if it includes rental properties. And as a renter, I effectively have no power to demand weatherization. The costs of utilities are passed on to me, but the ability to change my domicile's energy efficiency is often beyond my reach. As we begin to transition to cleaner energies with the new Minnesota legislation, it is cost-effective to concurrently weatherize our homes to conserve those new energy investments. However, like I said, I presently have no opportunities to do so. We need to make weatherization as attractive as possible for landlords. We need expectations to make it happen. And we need help as renters to make climate equity a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anybody else on my list from the clerk. I just wanted to check if there was anybody else who wished to speak here today. And if they do, to please sign in with the clerk. I'm not seeing anyone else, so I will go ahead and close this public hearing. Are there any questions from committee members? Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Vice Chair Koski. Also, thanks to the dozens of testifiers that came forward today. Also, of course, I have to do a special shout out to those from Ward 2. You're amazing. Thank you for coming through. It's very clear, from the testimony and from this work that Public Works specifically has an important role to play in making sure that the city meet our climate equity goals. And as folks emphasize, while this is a welcome addition of this $10 million through these franchise fees, we know that it's going to take a lot more to cover what has been, I believe, associated to be around $2 billion for the cost of our plan. And as people mentioned, it's likely going to be more than that. And it's pivotal that we're seeing other cities also recognize this, and they're taking action and are pursuing very aggressively funding opportunities, as many of our residents spoke on today, through the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, as well as the IIJA. I think that's going to be a key component of us also ramping up the funds that our residents are asking us to do to meet the bold, urgency, or just to be able to implement the strategies that's listed in our climate equity plan. And I had the opportunity to bring forward a legislative directive earlier this summer, asking our staff to give us a blueprint on what grants they were planning to go after as it related to the IIJA funding, as well as the IRA, all of the federal dollars right now that's circulating to support climate work. And in the wake of that presentation, I was actually surprised to learn that we're leaving tens of millions of dollars on the table while we are pursuing some significant grants. But one grant in particular that I was very disappointed to see that the city was not pursuing was the Reconnecting Communities grant to study highway removal in the corridor that runs through Ward 2 and Ward 6. While it's pretty obvious that Public Works will be probably the key department that will lead a grant like that, I also was surprised to see that health, specifically our health department, also didn't seek this particular grant, and knowing that there are detrimental impacts on health for residents that live near highways. They often have higher rates of health issues like asthma, as someone who also has asthma. And recognizing that we know that electric cars are not going to solve our climate crisis alone. They're not going to reduce those respiratory illnesses that plague certain communities, especially along highways. So from initial conversations that I had with the executive administration, I'm concerned that there is a lack of seriousness in seeing highway removal as also an urgent next step that this city must address in resolving or being innovative in how we're approaching our very real climate crisis. I want to also acknowledge that if capacity specifically is a barrier in applying for grants that I just mentioned, I'm very glad to know that IGR actually brought or is bringing forward a budget amendment for 2024 to extend contractual grant support for CPED, finance and property services, as well as health and public works. I hope that by having access to this, we'll see an increase in the application of grants, but actually, I'll pause there. Probably staff could probably answer this question. I'm just gonna pose it and hope one of y'all can come through and answer it. Has the department, specifically with health and then public works, made any grant-related work plans in light of this contractual support that's going to be extended to you all in the next year?
Deputy Commissioner Hanlon, welcome.
Chair Koski, and firstly, I'm going to apologize. You had asked if we were expecting anyone to bring forward comments today, and we said there might be a few. It's really impressive the amount of folks that showed up today and provided comments, so I wasn't expecting the amount of people to show up today, so thank you for your patience. Councilmember Wansley, for your question, yeah, we've been working, we were in support of that, having IGR have resources. We are a proponent working with the mayor's office to have money in the budget that was dedicated to the IGR to have capacity. So yeah, that idea was definitely brought forward with health, working with the IGR. Public Works was at the table as well, and CPED, and a number of different folks that we recognize that capacity as staff, and that was really staff-driven to have that included in the budget proposal. So yes, we're 100% on board with what you're recommending.
And just also, is this being taken into account? I know, especially with health, you just received that substantial grant for supporting the expansion of tree canopies. But that was already a program or a focus within your work plans as a department. So also thinking of that, are there specific strategies within the climate equity plan on public works or public health end where in anticipation of some of these grants, can you name some of those things?
Chair Koski, Councilmember Wansley. Yeah, we meet on a regular basis. In fact, there was a grants meeting this morning with our group where everyone sits down and goes over the grants that are especially dedicated to the areas of climate, pollution reduction. We've landed a number of grants. The USDA grant that you referenced on trees, Kelly Mielman and Sydney Schaaf really drove a lot of that work, and working with the park board to make sure that we got that funding here in Minneapolis. We recently got the EECDBG funding from Department of Energy. We're tracking a number of grants down right now, and we were part of the proposal that came forward. Finance put that entire proposal together, and we were at the table bringing forward all of the different grants. So the information that you received was health at the table, as along with other departments at the table, bringing forward all the different programs that might relate to the different work that we're doing. So yeah, the information that you have was, health was definitely part of that conversation and bringing it forward.
That's great.
Thank you.
Anything to add, Deputy?
Chair Koski, Councilmember Wansley, thanks for that question. Deputy Commissioner did a nice job of covering that. We support climate action work in just about everything we do. We've got the Transportation Action Plan, racial equity framework. We're working constantly to keep that in the forefront of our work. You mentioned a couple of those corridors. We're working very closely with Minnesota Department of Transportation on their application for Olson Memorial Highway. And so we're appreciative of the support of this ongoing work, and we'll keep working with you on it. Thank you.
Thank you for providing those responses. I definitely look forward to working with both departments, especially in looking at the Reconnecting Communities grant, so that we can, I'm glad to hear about the Olson Memorial being a next step for Public Works, but also looking at the impacts of I-94. Also, just flagging for council the contractual support that's being extended to these departments to go after these grants is one-time funds. I'm very concerned about that, especially coming into budget season, and it would be great if we could transition something like that into a full-time position, so that, again, we're on track to really repeatedly meet the grant deadlines for some of this substantial funding that's out both federally and locally. So look forward to having conversations with staff and leadership about that. And again, thanks to all of our staff for your hard work and dedication and listening to residents' feedback, to council members' feedback, both on the climate equity plan and also around the fee structure that you all are bringing forward for these franchise agreement or franchise increases. I'm also interested in seeing, and I know we're working on that with Director Hanlon on PCAR, specifically the pollution control annual registration. Many residents mentioned the fees is a regressive measure. We're having to, pay for this substantial plan on the backs of working class people. We know most of the pollution in our city also comes from corporate entities, as people mentioned today, and it's time that they also pay a share for what they emit in our communities and the harm that comes as a result of that. So I just want to name, I'm also looking forward to continuing that work with staff. So we're holding corporate polluters accountable. So thank you all for this thorough presentation, and excited to support this today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Koski. Thank you, council members.
Next, Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I said earlier, like many people in the room on the city staff, I had the COVID shot yesterday, and so now I'm sick as a result of the COVID shot. But I wanted to jump in the shower, take a lot of ibuprofen, and come down here because this is a really big thing. And I just also want to commend my colleague in crime, Councilmember Chugtai. We've served together for 2 years on the climate, on the city's, you can tell I'm not feeling well, on the Clean Energy Partnership, and we are the authors of the franchise fee agreement. And I just want to say a few things about that. One of the things that really struck me intensely when I spoke with staff about this was the lack of parity between residential consumers and larger, more industrial-sized consumers. And one of the things, because Councilmember Chugtai has the gas piece of it and I have the electric piece of it, and one of the things that I think staff really got right was trying to create parity between the two. It seems pretty unfair that our largest users of fossil gas, we're then paying the least as a percentage within the fee. And I think that this does a good job of correcting that. I also think that the amount of the increase, generally speaking, I think these kinds of things are regressive overall, but the amount of money that's going to be raised will come back in a more progressive way because we'll focus on the green zones, renters, and others in areas of concentrated poverty where the need is the greatest. And in fact, Councilmember Chugtai and I have asked staff a number of times, it's expensive to do all sorts of energy upgrades. And so often it's only people with wealth who can put in some of these major energy upgrades. And that's why it's so important to focus in areas where people don't have access to capital. And that's why weatherization is such a big deal. And so I just really feel like after a long time on the city council and a lot of talk about moving forward on doing something about climate change at the local level, we are doing something really unprecedented around the country. And as Councilmember Wansley said, there's a lot of federal and state funding available. And by us putting money in, that will serve to help us get other resources to be able to continue this work and expand it over time. Lastly, I just want to really thank Luke. You're one of my idols. I just think you're an amazing person and have taught me so much about this very important work. I had not worked in this area in the past in my career on the council, and I am drawn to it because of the way that you make it so approachable for us as policymakers to understand what you're thinking about. And to my dear friend Kim Havey, super proud of you. It's hard to be in an enterprise where you're really an advocate, but you're trying to be a government leader, but you're really an advocate. And you get frustrated when the enterprise doesn't move as quickly as you and the advocates would like. And I think in this particular situation, you guys have been able to strike a really good first movement on us by putting this kind of money in. I'll note, and I know everyone knows this, $10 million a year is basically a lot of money. Overall, the Civil Rights Department budget is about $16 million. So this is a huge effort, and I don't think we should underestimate 10 million, but I don't think we should be thinking small, because ultimately it will increase over time and we'll have access to state and federal resources that will allow us to build on the success with the money we've put in now. I'm not on the committee, I can't make any motions. I'm sure Councilmember Chugtai has something to say about it as well. I appreciate you allowing me to come sit through the public hearing and participate in a meaningful way.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman. Really glad that you were able to be here today. Councilmember Chugtai. Thank you, Madam Chair. Couldn't agree with everything Councilmember Goodman said more. It's been one of my joys to work with her on this issue over the last 2 years. We're going to miss you a lot. But first want to thank our staff, Luke and Patrick and Kim, who are here today and have been in this with us throughout the time I've been here, but long before my time at City Hall. Really appreciate your work and agree that you make this work sound more accessible for people who are not subject matter experts. And it is hard. It's hard to find that, especially in this field. Something I heard from I think almost 40 residents who came to speak on this issue today, with such beautiful testimony and stories that are staying with me. There was a lot of consensus on what people liked about where we're headed and their concerns about what needs to happen in the future. I think I really agree that $10 million is an excellent start, and when good things happen here at the city, we should celebrate them. I'm really excited about it, and it is tripling the city's historic investment in this work, and that's a big deal, and we should celebrate that. And it's nowhere near enough for where we're going to need to go, but we're headed in the right direction, and I am optimistic that the amount of consensus policymakers in Minneapolis and staff in Minneapolis have on this issue means that we are going to be able to scale up to meet the demands of residents that we all serve. to me, one of the most important parts of where we're headed is the consensus we all have, residents, staff, and policymakers alike, on prioritizing equity in this work. We know that people of color and Indigenous people are experience the burdens of a deteriorating climate first and most severely. And so our solutions have to prioritize lifting those communities and protecting those communities from devastation. We are in agreement on that. And I'm excited to see how we're going to prioritize our spending and prove to people that we are taking that seriously. We're hearing people's residents' feedback on this issue very seriously. This is a first big and important step, and next week when we vote to approve this, it'll be an important step too. But in the future of this work, the city is committed to prioritizing its resources to fund solutions that benefit our Black, Indigenous, and communities of color, and our low-income communities and our renter communities, of course, so that equity really, really continues to be at the center of our climate action work. Thank you. Move the item. Would you like to make the honors here? Sure. Yes. Okay. So sorry, Madam Chair. I'll move both of these items for approval. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and this committee's recommendation will be forwarded to the next council meeting for final action. With that, we have concluded. With that, we have concluded all business to come before the committee. Without objection, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.